name is Earl Hunter. I'm a truck driver. I'm driving my truck right now. I'm out here in Idaho. 49 years old, born in 1974. It is May 21st, 2023 right now. I'm making this video to go to my YouTube and some of my social media because I got a book that I've been working on that should be coming out soon. And I just want to, reach out, especially to the people that know me and anybody else that's interested in what the book is going to be about, but mainly to the people that know me. I guess where to start would be, my dad was a Vietnam soldier. He was, from what I remember, he was a field medic. What I remember being told is that he was missing in action, or he was one of the soldiers that were captured. I think he was gone for like 4 years, and he was one of the ones that were eventually rescued, from what I remember my grandmother telling me. And that he just, when he got back, he didn't know how to act really. He had PTSD and some other things, probably, they say. And also that he didn't get no counseling, so he was building a school bus into like a camper, and I guess moved out into the Arizona desert and away from society. And he got out there. He took me and my brother out there, and he pretty much tortured me and my brother. He had us standing out there with our hands on our head all day. He shoot at us with BB guns. Water breaks were probably twice a day, 3 times a day if I was lucky. At nighttime, at daytime he would have us standing outside all day in the sun with our hands on our head. At night he would lock us up in this cage at nighttime, and they would just wake up. Him and my mom and my sister would wake up whenever. My sister never got treated like that at all. She's got to eat, drink, play, just normal kid stuff, Obviously we didn't go to no schools. He kept us away from everybody, so I never seen another kid. We never seen anybody else at all, ever, because the way he kept us out there. Long story short, to be honest, they'd forget to get up in the morning to let us out, so you kind of had to piss on yourself in that bed. Then we'd get beat for peeing in the bed, dragged out by our hair, stripped of our clothes, and made to stand with our hands on our head for the first hour or two out in the sun with no, clothes on, until my mama had her first cigarette, some breakfast, some coffee. Then she would call us over one at a time. Here, Earl, you put these on. Here, Claude, you put those on. And we had to go back out there and stand all day. The only time we were relieved from standing in those positions is if we had to clean up dog poop, or if my sister needed somebody to play with, she could ask my dad and he'd let us play with her, and when she was done with us, we were told to go back and stand there. When we were told to get our water, we kind of drag our feet about drinking water, so that we wouldn't have to hurry it up and go right back with our hands out there. It's legs are hurting, your arms are hurting, you're supposed to stand out there with our eyes closed all fucking day until he needed us to do something. We'd be told to gather firewood around the campsite that we were at out there in that Arizona desert. It was the Maricopa Desert, if I remember right. And nobody ever came out there. He would go so far as that when he got out and looked around, if he saw a bunch of tire tracks or trash, he didn't go far enough, so he'd go further. And he'd have the dogs set up around the bus and the camper there, whatever he was pulling, so that they would alert him that when people came. And me and my brother were told that if anybody showed up, that we are to act normal, put our hands down, walk around, go get some water, or sometimes he even tell us to go inside the bus. He didn't want any law enforcement to see us out there, especially not standing like that. eventually they ended up taking my sister away. Somehow it was found out she was there and she wasn't going to school, and that kind of set him off. So he kidnapped my sister. This is after we moved to Mississippi, Biloxi, Mississippi. They took my sister and put her in a foster home, and that made him mad. So he kidnapped her from the foster home, and I guess it was an FBI warrant put out for him, and he was on the run. They followed the disability checks all the way down to South Texas in the Rio Grande Valley on the border of Mexico, Brownsville, the Rio Grande Valley area. And they ended up doing a sting operation and catching him, my mom, and my sister. Me and my brother got put in foster homes down there. And in 1985, for a 9 and a 10-year-old boy to be white and to be in the foster home in that area, it was kind of rough. We got picked on a lot, mainly because of our color. And, they just didn't care for us too much. So we were put in foster homes. And I've been all over down there. My brother had too, all over that whole area. I was in Esperanza Home for Boys. I was in the Weslaco Youth Village in Weslaco, Texas. I was in halfway houses in McAllen, Harlingen. I was in the Beetle House in McAllen, the Valley House in Harlingen, Oasis House in Corpus Christi, Aries House in San Antonio. I've been all over, mostly in the south part of Texas. I've been to institutional facilities for juveniles in Brownwood, Giddings, Corsicana, and Evans Regional, which is in the Rio Grande Valley. So I grew up real institutionalized. Eventually my parent rights were taken away. My mama got out of jail a year or two later and said she didn't want us. So I was breaking into buildings when I would run away. I stole a couple of cars. I did some other things. I ended up being in the Texas juvenile system for all the way my whole young life. I went to public school a few times and a few months at a time in each different halfway house. So I might be in the Valley House for 6 months, and I might have went to the Alamo School for 6 months, or the Oasis House in Corpus Christi, and I went to Moody High School for 3 or 4 months. But that was about it. Other than the institutional, they would have volunteer teachers that would come in, and they would have educational classes set up in the institutional facilities. That was it as far as my education. So I never got a GED. I never got a high school diploma. I don't have none of that to this day, and I'm 49. When I got out, I went to TDC, and after I got through with my little stint there, I got an interstate compact, and I came to parole out here in Kansas, and came out here, and I was just about finished, and I couldn't function out here in Kansas. I lived in Wichita. 93, I couldn't function. I was constantly getting in fights, putting my hands on people. If you looked at me too long, it was a challenge. If I didn't deal with it right now, I was afraid it was going to come back and literally, physically stab me in the back. It cost me my life. So I had to be on the offense all the time. It caused me to lose job after job after job. I couldn't support my family. I had a kid, had 2 kids, my first wife. My second wife, who put up with most of my issues that I had, my PTSD at the time, I didn't know I had it. Bipolar at the time, I didn't know I had it. Intermittent explosive disorder, I didn't know I had none of that stuff. I thought I was normal. I just had a bad attitude. But as hard as it was for me to try to correct that attitude, I couldn't do it. There were times I'd be walking home from a job because I didn't have a car, and the whole way home, man, tears were coming down my face because I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And I could talk to people and make them think there wasn't nothing wrong with me unless they lived with me every day and they saw me do crazy things out of the middle of nowhere. I didn't know what it was. I had no idea. Went through 4. I'm on my 4th marriage now at 49. It's been rough. Probably about 12, 13 years ago, I come to the conclusion. My ex-wife used to make fun of me and said I had bipolar, and I'm like, everybody keeps saying that. And I looked up the definition, and it sure enough was me. I couldn't believe it. It was I was happy at first, and then I was scared because I'm like, it's like somebody telling you got AIDS in a way. There's no cure for it. you know. Since then, I've bought probably about 70, 80 books of dealing with anger and dealing with different mental stuff. I don't know how much medicine I've been on over the years through CommCare in Wichita, Kansas. And I have not found nothing that doesn't just make me straight out sick and tired, or which helps me lose my jobs faster or whatever. The longest job I've had is this one I got right now, and I've been driving trucks on and off since probably 2005, 2006. It was hard for me to sit in the classroom for 6 weeks to learn how to do this. It was hard. I did it. It was just hard. I barely made it. I've been driving for years now. I'm an owner-operator. And, you know, a lot of people tell me when I leave facilities, institutional facilities and halfway houses, and hell, even in Kansas, I've been in work release 2 or 3 times. I've been in residential community corrections 3 times. I've been on probation 3 or 4, maybe more times for simple assault charges, discharge of firearms within the city limits. Before the 5-year rule came in effect, if you get caught with one, you gone for 5 years. I had a lot of gun charges, and just every day trying to figure out how to make it. In 2004, I learned how to make gold teeth, which are gold crowns that go on your teeth, and that helped get me out of poverty and stop me from selling, you know, weed and shit like that. You know, it kind of got me out of the street a little bit. Probably saved my life. And then I was smart enough to go ahead and get my record expunged later and get all my felonies off my record, and also get my CDL. Cost me about $5,000. I was able to get all that accomplished. And I got to thinking one night when I first started driving trucks, you know, everybody's always telling me I should write a book. I should write a book. For what? What does it matter? What does anybody really even care? They don't know who I am. Nobody gives a fuck. They got their own problems and their own struggles that they got to deal with every day. Ain't nobody concerned about what I got going on over here. But you see movies like Antwone Fisher, and you see movies or books like The Child Called It, and you know, here recently, financially, things have gotten hard. Even as a truck driver, it's been hard. My wife had a stroke, my current wife, so I'm the only income in my house. And I thought, why not, you know, she's recovered probably about 90% from her stroke over the years. I'm like, why don't you I talk to you over the phone and let's write this book. So we started this book 2 or 3 years ago. Thought it was going to take a year. Taking longer, trials and tribulations in the meanwhile. And I used to go out and talk to children and work in juvenile facilities. I've been out to talk to prisoners. I've been out to do all kinds of stuff. You know, I've been around gangs, drug dealers, pimps, people that run girls and escort services. I mean, I've done some of these things myself. And you know, I've still managed to hold on to my soul. Some of these things I didn't stay very long because it just didn't feel right. You know, I morally wasn't happy with myself. You know, this is probably the happiest I've been driving this truck, and I'll get out and I'll work for whatever I got to do. But in the beginning, the eviction notice is on the door. I got to do what I got to do. You know, I got to do whatever it is, and that's how I had lived. So I thought maybe this book at the same time maybe would reach out to some people that have went through some similar things. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. If it makes me a few dollars to help me continue my life, I mean, I have a very bad back that I really need to get surgery for. I got bulging disc and stuff, and I got other issues that my mental issues are probably getting a little worse as time goes on. And, you know, at the end of the day, I got to deal with those things, and it makes it hard for me to even be out here. I get into fights out here on the side of the road sometimes with other drivers. You know, I just being disrespectful, whatever. You know, the whole time I'm trying to hold myself together. Anytime a man cannot hold himself together and realize if you get in one fight, you could lose everything you have. And I have to ride around with that on my brain all day. My stomach is in knots when I walk into a room full of people, you know, I mean, I could go on with all the symptoms that I got to deal with, scared all day long that I'm going to do something wrong. It's just stressful. It's going to cause personal arguments at home I can't get out of, makes me say things I don't need to say. But I can honestly say that I don't beat my wife and kids. I don't abuse people like that. And I can't understand people that do, because you know what it feels like. I will admit sometimes verbally I'm quick to say, you know, if we get too big of an argument, you know, if you don't like it, leave. You know, if you don't like what I'm doing, I'm not doing good enough for you, you know, I'm quick to dismiss my wife and say, then, you know, go ahead and go. You know, that's just the way I've had to live my life. Guys in the street that were around me never knew I had any of these problems. I never let anybody know. I figured at the time it was a sign of weakness. And what would I look like admitting all that? I wouldn't do it. My pride wouldn't let me do it. Now at the age that I'm at, I feel, you know, when we get older, we don't feel it's as important anymore to worry about those things. I mean, what are they going to do? Make fun of me? I mean, you know, whip my ass? I mean, do what you, come on with it, you know? So, I guess that's the attitude and the feeling and comfortability that I have with admitting these things. Some people think that I'm a real asshole, and, you know, sometimes I can be. If you cross me the wrong way, or I think you're trying to take advantage of me, I'm quick to jump on the offense and let you know, hey, stop. I don't let men put their hands on me to the best of my ability. I'm ready to go to war for that, because those times are over. I have a real problem with authority for obvious reason. I didn't understand what that was about. But me and the police, most stuff don't get along, especially if you got a bad attitude. Or if I feel like you're trying to trick me or set me up, I immediately head to the offense. And I feel like I'm either going to live free and do, you know, and live, I'll live righteous. I live righteous. I believe in that very much so. My victims of my robberies back in the day, you know, I like literally think about them sometimes, and I'm so glad that I didn't, you know, seriously hurt anybody, you know, because I would be having to live with that today. My soul is still intact, and I think only by the grace of God. At the same time, I still got to live here, and I still got to do what I got to do every day, and it's complicated, you know. So I figured I would write my book and tell my story. You look on, you know, Trucking with Mr. Cadillac, or you look up Mr. Cadillac 74, I think it is, on YouTube. You see some videos of some guys that have been locked up with me, even as a kid, and they'll tell you how bad I had it. You know, I've got my paperwork. You know, all these things are going to be in my book, except for that video on YouTube. You know, a lot of government people that have, and churches and programs that have had me come out and talk to kids and prisoners know me from even some of them from my criminal activity in Kansas. You know, they knew me when I was going in and out of jail. They knew things I was doing. And it was so easy for everybody to sit there and judge me and not know. I'm not saying that there's an excuse for doing what I did. There's not. There is definitely not. But I just don't want somebody to think I was just having fun. I was doing it to have fun. It had nothing to do with that. So, you know, I'm going to start posting more videos about certain subjects. I have lots of opinions about things that I see going on. And my opinion, I mean, who am I? But if enough people hear what I have to say and believe in what I'm saying, I think that's all that really matters at the end of the day, is what I'm saying, right or wrong. And I'll end that with a joke. And the joke goes like this. This guy's driving this brand new Lamborghini. He blows his tire in front of a house. When he blows the tire in front of the house, he's sitting out there scratching his head. He's on the phone. He's hung up with 2 or 3 different places, and he's walking around upset. And he broke down right in front of a halfway house for crazy people. So the guy walks out there, one of the residents from the halfway house walks out to the car. He goes, "What happened? You blew your tire?" And he goes, "Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do." He said, well, do you got a spare? And he goes, I don't know. So, you know, they look in the front of the Lamborghini and there's a tire and whatever and jack and all this. So they jack the car up. The guy shows him how to take the lug nuts off, take the tire off. He's pretty much doing all the work. This rich guy standing there scratching his head like, wow, you know, he's just amazed. And when he gets through, he goes, is that your house? And he goes, oh, it's a halfway house for crazy people. He said, oh, you live there? And he goes, yeah. He said, I don't understand. You just got through helping me change my tire and doing all this. You ain't crazy. Why would you be living there? He goes, no, I'm crazier than a motherfucker. I'm just not stupid. So that's me. Yeah, I may have some issues. You can put me in a corner and back me up too tight against the wall. Yes, it's like a different personality shows up. You know, you may get me to threaten you and open your head up to the white meat, you know, or cut your face off, or there's no telling what I'll say to you. You know, I've been known to tell men that I'll rape men. You know, it's not that I'm a homosexual, it's just that I feel I need to be on the offense and let you know that once you take a man's, you know, once you rape the man, you pretty much touched his soul in a way that it's hard for him to get back from. Either he goes crazy or he becomes a killer. And I can tell you that I've been blessed that that ain't never happened to me. But it's some of that institutional conversation that comes out of me that other people are just dumbfounded, like, what the fuck does this mean? I'm really calm, cool, and a good person until you put me in a corner, or I'm threatened with violence, or I feel like you're trying to take advantage of me. Anything you're trying to do to take from me or my family, it causes me to act in a way that can put both your life and my life in jeopardy. Few conversational words you may say, they make me think I had to shoot you, or, you know, hit you in your face. You got a gun on you and you pull it out, we're wrestling over that gun, and only the good Lord knows who's going to win that toss, that tussle. It's just best to give me my 50 feet, let me say excuse me to you, and let me say please to you, let me, you know, be as polite as I can to you, and let me go on about my business. You know, I'm by far not the baddest motherfucker on the planet at all, but I am somebody that people should just leave alone unless you are ready for some drama. You know, my ex-wife used to tell me I'm addicted to that, and I'm probably built for it all my life. I wake up every morning with that knot in my stomach like I'm waiting to go to court to be sentenced to a life sentence, and this is my last day of freedom. And people wouldn't know that walk around me, that stand with me. They don't even know what goes on in here. You know, I was joking with my wife one day. I said, if you could have realized, if you could have read my mind before you met me and walked into a restaurant, and you could see these guys, there's some guys over here, and you're reading their mind, and they're like, man, I wonder how my, you know, portfolio is looking right now. I wonder how my stocks are doing on the Wall Street. I wonder how my rental properties are doing. I wonder, you know, all these guys thinking business. And if you was to listen and look over at me and read my mind, you'd probably see that there's a city bus coming to park in front of the restaurant, and I'm hoping that the bus comes through the front of the building and, you know, hits me, lets me survive. And then I end up suing them for $1 million, you know. Or that could be one of my thoughts, or another thought could be let it hit me and let me get out of here, as long as I don't have to deal with a lot of agony and pain on the way out. You know, my body has suffered enough from scars and things that have been done to it that, you know, I deal with pains every day. I have pain medicine that I have to take. I had to get a special letter from the doctor for me to take those medicines only when I sleep at night. So in the daytime, guess what? I'm dealing with my pain most of the time. I have a daughter that I've been raising to be self-sufficient, to be a great kid. You know, she gets up every day, she does her little exercises, she goes to school, she comes home, she does her chores, she's in karate. I got her in, she's going to be doing another form of martial arts here. I think it's jiu-jitsu, or, you know, she knows how to do things that most boys don't know how to do. I'll teach her to be disciplined, and I'll teach her to be ready for the hard things in life. So if you're ready for the hard things, then everything else is easy in life. Everything else is no problem. So, like I say, I've got that book. I got a book coming out on trucking for people like me that come out of prison, and showing them the way to get their CDLs and get their life in a different. If you can't do nothing else, let me show you another avenue. So, I guess I'm gonna end the video and just say, you know, I do got a book coming out. It's called The Story of Earl Cadillac Hunter. If you Google my name, you can find my YouTube pages. Earl Cadillac, like the car, Hunter, on Google, and you'll see pictures, videos, articles that have been written about me. And I thank you for your time.